All right. I hope this is recording because if it's not, I have failed miserably.
It's recording.
Yeah, I've failed miserably at life, and normally I'm the talent, not the producer. All right, I'm Mike, the host of the Too Many Guys Soccer Show. We recorded yesterday, but it's today. And if you can tell by my background and the way I'm dressed, you know that this is an impromptu thing. So I am joined by our guy, Byron Rob, to talk a little bit about the Champions League quarterfinals that were played today. Bayern Villareal and Chelsea Real Madrid. Rob, it was a rough day.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Very, very rough.
Man, that was a rough day. Villareal with the 88th minute winner to go to the semifinals and eliminating Bayern at the quarterfinal stage for the first time in I don't know how long.
Long time, man. I mean, I continue on. I'm gathering my thoughts over here.
Um, if you're coming from Bayern perspective, it's an awful day. If you're coming from a slightly neutral perspective, the Minnows won. Unai Emery got the Yellow Submarine into the semifinals of the Champions League. Full credit to him. He has found his level. He does a great job with these teams like Sevilla or Villareal, where his message rings true and brings them through to the smallest team to win the Europa League, how is now a semifinalist in the Champions League.
I think Villarreal's success is proof positive that when UEFA made the winner of the Europa League get an automatic slot into the group stage, it's vindication for that decision, because the theory is that if you're going to win Europa League, that means you can compete with the big boys in Champions League. Maybe do some damage in the group stage, but here they are in the semifinals, and every Europa team team right now is like clamoring, like could do that? Why can't we do that? Especially Leipzig, because they have been to the semifinals before Champions League during the COVID year, but it's incredible. It's an incredible story for neutral, but just from my perspective, I'm just at a loss, man. It's a sad day, and look, I know the Bundesliga is coming up. I mean, there's many more matches left, but the title race is over. We have a game with Dortmund coming up in a couple weeks. I mean, all right, yeah. I mean, that's fun, I guess. It's cool. Meet up with everybody during brunch here, but I haven't. It's weird. I have nothing to look forward to. I mean, like, it's tough. It really is tough. I'm hurting today, man.
I know. You brought up an interesting point that I need to get to, because Bayern Munich will likely win the Bundesliga, but they went out of the Pokal very early. They're out of the Champions League at the quarterfinal stage. When you look at what Bayern Munich's expectations are, do you want to say that Nagelsmann's first season has been a failure? Because he's going to come away with the league, and not for nothing, Y'all done that for the last decade.
Even under previous managers who have not been the greatest, Niko Kovac, and for us, Carlo Ancelotti. For Real Madrid, Carlo Ancelotti is on the Mount Rushmore of managers. But for Bayern, his assistant coach was smoking, and then the players had to, gather themselves to do proper training. So, different strokes for different folks. But you're right. That is a. I did not think about that yet, because Nagelsmann came in, pretty much had to take over a team that achieved perfection. Yes, there was a little break between then and Hansi Flick, only won the league. But essentially, that core group achieved everything possible. They won every single trophy that they were eligible to play for. And it's almost like the same situation that Pep came into when Pep started after Jupp Heynckes, after the treble. Jupp Heynckes won the treble, and then he left, and then Pep's like, how do I make this team even better? Now, he has made them better, I think, overall, and you do see some of that Pep DNA still on this squad. But Nagelsmann almost had no place to go but down. He just really didn't. I mean, and also the team was strapped with cash, because Bayern run their club using the gates and the ticket sales and the merch and all that as their primary source of revenue. That wasn't there because of COVID. Only this week was like the second time in the year that the stadium's been full. Upamecano's been iffy, right? He's had the big price tag. Sabitzer's been blah, coming over for Leipzig. He didn't even play today.
Yeah.
A Champions League semifinalist who you took for your biggest rival did not see the field today. So that's in. And the Bayern fandom is really annoyed because Nagelsmann is insisting on this back three with Upamecano, Lucas Hernandez, and Pavard. And we like the 4-2-3-1. We like having two fullbacks, but the problem is, and some of my friends over in Bayern, will contest me on this, is the problem is that Bayern do not have a complementary fullback to Alphonso Davies on the right. Alphonso Davies is a up and down the flanks on the left. There's no, but Benjamin Pavard really can't do that. And people forget, when Bayern won Champions League, Benjamin Pavard was not playing right back. He was hurt, and Joshua Kimmich was playing right back.
Well, that was what I was going to say to you. Like, y'all do have one of the best right backs in the world. The problem is he plays central midfield for you.
And he doesn't want to play right back. He doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the success that teams have had, Germany won a World Cup with Joshua Kimmich at right back. Bayern won a treble with Joshua Kimmich at right back.
Well, all right, so real quick. So just to slightly correct you. So when Germany won the World Cup, Lahm was playing right.
Lahm was playing right back, but
Lahm was playing right back, but he actually started the tournament in the midfield.
Yeah,
if you remember, because Pep moved him to the midfield because Pep's like, I need the smartest person in the midfield, and he sort of changed later on. But no, I understand. I understand what you're trying to say.
Again, was yes, it wasn't the World Cup, but after Lahm retired, Kimmich came in and played right back, and the German national team looked a lot better with Kimmich playing right back than they did with him not. Now, the other thing I could say was you're going to play a back three, but you're going to play a back three with one recognized center back and Dayot Upamecano. Lucas Hernandez can play center back, but he's played a lot of left back. Pavard has typically been a right back, not a center back. So you're asking him to do something slightly different. Now, I understand that this was a lineup that against Salzburg, scored 7 goals. But you're not playing Salzburg, you're playing Villareal.
Yeah, I know it's a different squad too. Like Villarreal this Villarreal team is tournament tested. They won the Europa League, right? So that counts for something. And then they gained their confidence beating Juventus. Until look, I know what Bayern were trying to do with the back three. What they were pretty much trying to do was suffocate the midfield with the three, have Kimmich and Goretzka right between the back three, but moving forward, and pretty much any counter to the middle was being snuffed out, and that worked a lot. The problem was that Bayern were missing the final touch, and and then a symptom that's been going on all season is that they've been exposed on the counter. They push too far up high, and then on the wings there's a ton of space, and then who gets to there. And Davies didn't start this game, by the way. So Davies is a more natural up and down player. Kingsley Coman, Leroy Sané, they're not those players. Can they come back and help and defend? Yes, they can. But they don't defend as well as Davies. So when Villarreal had their chances, and they had a couple, and the last one that bit them, pretty much started off on the right, and and then it was game over at that point because there was too much space. Bayern couldn't react. They had too many people up high, and that was all she wrote. I honestly think that Bayern could have done a much better job as opposed. They pushed too far up high, and the problem was that I think they need to let teams come at them a little bit more, and then you have to punish them because the score was tied. I mean, on aggregate. And if Villarreal had the ball and they moved it up a little bit further, I think you definitely could have posed their will more. The problem with Villarreal was defending for their lives and did it really, really well. And there was no space for the ball or any Bayern attacking player to go. And that's all she wrote. And not to mention also Lewandowski, I think is still recovering from a knee injury he got in the last international break. He hasn't really been the same. I know he scored today, and it was a fine goal by him, very clinical. But he's had other chances, and he just didn't go through. Mueller had a great chance straight at the keeper. And there was actually one decision, and I would love to get Lowe's take on it. Once I get the clip, I would love his referee expertise. So the Villarreal keeper and Rulli came out. And actually on the clearance, he actually hit one of the Bayern players. I forget who it was specifically, but the Bayern player hit the ball out of bounds. As when he tried to shoot it, hit the ball out of bounds, but the keeper actually hit the player as he was rising up. And so I always wondered if the ball had no chance to go in the net and to be an actual play, but could have been a penalty. I don't think it is. The referee didn't call it simply because even though there was a lot of contact made with the player, but there was just no chance whatsoever. But other than that, Villarreal played their game. They played very well. Congratulations to them. Good luck against Liverpool because it's a different animal overall. And us Bayern folks will just sulk in these beautiful Champions League Alps shirts. And that's it.
So the Champions League Alps shirt is pretty. I want to question Nagelsmann's decision to go with the 4-2, the 3-4-2-3, right? If only because I wonder about why you needed to have two defensive midfielders, two players in Goretzka and Kimmich in central midfield, who play a more holding midfield role when you knew going in Villarreal were not going to attack.
No, and I think my option would have been I definitely probably would have taken Goretzka out, and I probably would have put in. Well, all right. So here's the problem, right? So you know this game could go to extra time. you don't want to put all the wingers out there at the same time either. So you don't want to put Coman, Sane, and Gnabry together. But then, and if you did that, you would have Muller and Sane in the middle, and then Coman and Gnabry on the wings, right? This is when we miss a player like Thiago. Thiago was that perfect glue to move the ball and recycle the ball around. He had defensive awareness, good positioning, but also he was really good with the ball at his feet and could make an offensive move, could cut the lines, could break lines easily with a great pass, a no-look pass, dribbling through lines of defense. Kimmich and Goretzka are not those players, and you needed a more of an offensive weapon. Goretzka operates more of an 8, but to be frank with you, Kimmich and Goretzka were very far up the pitch, and they were trying to attack. So I would have preferred a much more attacking option. The problem is that if you did that, Musiala is going to fall back into the midfield, but he's not a defensive stalwart in the midfield. He's still growing. You could blow on him and it'll tip over. Right, poor Bambi. So this is why you need an offensive player like a Thiago, for example, and we really, really miss him here to break these teams down, and we suffer for it because and you would think, well, Sabitzer is a perfect player for this person. I mean, for this situation, he's an offensive weapon. He's good on the free kicks, but he has not demonstrated a single time, really, this season that he deserves to be on the field, and rightfully so. He did not deserve to be on the field, and he did not see the field today.
So we can say the best thing to come out of this Champions League season for Bayern is the kits.
Yeah, pretty much. So just going back to your original question, you can say that this is a failure on Nagelsmann because if you're Bayern, you're expecting to get to the semis or the final of the Pokal, and you're expecting semifinals of Champions League. You got to win the league. You have the players to do it, and all the other teams, they pretty much lay down for various reasons and give the lead to Bayern, especially Dortmund this year. They had plenty of times where they could have, really made it a contest, and that didn't happen. So failure, but I won't fire him. This is a manager that is, I think, an offensive genius. I think it's gotten cute with the lineup, but I think at the same time he's playing with what he has, and there's just not much on the bench to really help him here for his various configurations. Hopefully, he gets some reinforcements this offseason, and he could definitely implement a couple of different things. But look, there's a whole bunch of people in the Bayern Twitter space who want Nagelsmann gone, and they want Ten Hag. I would love Ten Hag, but he's gone apparently to United. So congrats.
We'll see that when the press conference happens and the contract has officially been signed. Listen, calling it a failure on Nagelsmann's part does not necessarily mean that he needs to be fired for it.
Yeah.
It just means that this was not the season that they intended, and he needs to learn from it so that he can move forward. The expectations at Bayern are almost a treble every year. You are not going to be a Mount Rushmore, a famous, a appreciated, a celebrated manager of Bayern Munich unless you're bringing home a treble, and at that, unless you're bringing home multiple ones, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I will give Pep Guardiola full credit. I think that he took Bayern to a different level, but what he did not do while he was there was win the Champions
League. Yeah, no, and he had 2 good chances, didn't do it, got cute the first time around, And I know he was going through things and whatever, but the fact of the matter is he didn't do it. But Nagelsmann will have another chance. I think
Yeah.
he's a good enough manager to get Bayern back here. Um, and look, this is the lost opportunity because Villareal, they're a good team, granted, right? But they're not a Liverpool. They're not a City, and those teams could have easily been drawn against Bayern in this round, and that didn't happen. So Bayern blew a golden opportunity. Next season in the quarterfinals, who are we going to see? Are we going to see a PSG? Are we going to see a Chelsea? Are we going to see Karim Benzema and Real Madrid again in the quarters? So this is when you get good draws, quote unquote good draws. You got to take full advantage. They didn't do it this time. But Nagelsmann will learn from it. I think he's has a great mind, and it should be an interesting offseason.
They got to reinforce. We'll talk about it on the mothership a little bit more as we get into the transfer window. Let's talk about the other semifinal today.
Ooh, that was a beauty. Oh my
geez.
God.
Real Madrid 2, Chelsea 3. Real Madrid go through in extra time on a Karim Benzema winner. They lose 3-2 on the day, but they go through 5-4 on aggregate. This is really the first quarterfinal that we've seen without the away goals rule. Not that it mattered, because even with the away goals rule, because it was 3-1, it still would have gone to extra time. Man, was that a game and a half. If you had told me at the beginning that Chelsea could go in to the Bernabeu and make up the difference, that 3-1 difference, I'd have laughed in the face. But for Christian Pulisic missing a couple of chances, they legit had an opportunity to win this in regular time. But for an amazing Luka Modric pass and Vinicius Jr. volley, it would have been 3-0. Rob, this game had everything.
Oh my God. For a while, we thought we were seeing Tuchel masterclass. Tuchel, Champions League winner, multiple trophies in Germany. And, he's only gotten better, I think, as a manager. And he nearly escaped with a win here. They had a bad game at home. And then they easily could have crumbled. They could have said, you know what, this is not our home. We're away. We're at the Bernabeu. This is Madrid. This game is done, right? Because Karim Benzema is still at another level. And Tuchel was having none of it. And neither was Mason Mount. Mason Mount had himself a game. Timo Werner had himself a game. Who as you know,
Antonio Rudiger.
Yeah, Antonio Rudiger had himself a game. For those who listen to this show, follow me on social media, will know that I call Timo Werner the hashtag fraud 9, not the false 9, the fraud 9. Timo Werner came out to play today, and what Timo Werner is capable of doing. Really, really good performance by him. But you know what? Sometimes when you miss your chances, you have a Luka Modric reminding you that he won the Ballon d'Or, reminding you he went to a World Cup final, and reminding you that despite how old he is, he could turn back the clock and deliver one of the most beautiful passes I've seen to Rodrigo. My God, chef kiss. Oh, my beautiful. Oh, put that in the Louvre, man.
For those of you who are listening and haven't seen it, moving forward, I want to say about 30 yards away from goal with the outside of his foot pinpoint going from left to right onto the shin of Vinicius Jr., who has no choice but to put it past Edward Mendy and into the goal off of beautiful volley. Vinicius Jr. will get the plaudits because it was his goal, but this is not possible but for a pinpoint tactical, technical work of art. I'm talking Ken Griffey Jr. swing, baseball swing, Tiger Woods golf swing at his prime, Ray Allen's
Williams.
3-point shot, Serena
Yeah.
Williams serve-esque clinical masterpiece of a pass from Luka Modric. And I'm going to, in the same breath, say if we needed to give a soccer most valuable player, not Ballon d'Or, not a FIFA player of the year, because those are recognizing the best player, the one who has played the best, but most valuable, which to me means y'all would not be where you were if not for this individual. I would say mine for professional soccer right now, for club soccer, would have to be Karim Benzema, because there is no doubt Real Madrid would not be anywhere near where they are if it weren't for Karim Benzema and the goals that he has scored for them.
And you could just copy and paste that praise that you have Karim Benzema, and you could apply it for the last 8 to 9 years.
This year, though, he's just been on a different level with, and I think it might be the team around him that has needed to play to him on a different level. And he's just been so critical. 7 of the last 8 Champions League goals Real Madrid have scored have been from Karim Benzema. We saw how lost they were in El Clasico when he was not able to play. He has just been, again, valuable in the sense that you would not have made the semifinals of the Champions League. You would not be the front runner to win La Liga without him and his goals, because I have manifest evidence in the games that he has not played to show you when he does not play, Real Madrid don't score, and they're not nearly the threat that they are when he's in the lineup.
So Mike, I'm looking at the Chelsea lineup here and who started. Do you think Tuchel got it a little bit wrong by not starting Jorginho? Or do you think he didn't start him because he probably wants it for the FA Cup semifinals? He sort of thought that, look, this is going to be a really tough game to get back into, and then he was sort of surprised. He surprised himself that he was back in his game.
No, I don't think that at this point in time that he would have said, "Oh, I want Jorginho for the FA Cup semifinals," because if you're going to save Jorginho for the FA Cup semifinals, why don't you save Mason Mount? Why don't you save N'Golo Kante? Why don't you save Kai Havertz? Why don't you save Antonio Rudiger? Why, if you're going to say, oh, I'm going to sit out a player for the Champions League semifinals, why Jorginho? Why not one of the other guys, right?
Well, I think I see Loftus-Cheek started, and so I'm a little bit puzzled by that because I think I would have played. It's weird, right? Because you want to it's like between Kovacic, Conte, and Jorginho, you really only can play two of them at a time,
Mhm.
right? So, but I guess like once you got the lead or you had to tie, I mean, I guess I probably would have played. I would have brought Jorginho on earlier. I guess is probably my
Yeah,
probably
and
what I'm thinking
I
about.
think that it's hard to sit and say,
Yeah,
sitting at 2-0 and or actually 3 before Real Madrid, Vinicius put that one in to send it to extra time. It's hard to sit and say like Tuchel got his game plan wrong, right? He's at what 80 minutes and he's turned around a 3-0 a 3-1 deficit. He's ahead. He's actually had a couple of goals rolled off. Christian Pulisic flubs his lines. Like, what did Thomas Tuchel do wrong tonight?
that's a really good question. I mean, it's hard to really fault him here because he pretty much did everything correctly. Because like, look, his tactics and his decisions are what got them up, and then it took the first goal, which is the Rodrigo goal by Madrid. It took that type of pass to pretty much say, like it took a miracle, not a miracle, but it took a thing of beauty to make this a contest.
Mm-hmm. It took
And yeah,
it took a lot. It took a miracle pass and a clinical finish to get them the extra time. And Kareem Benzema deciding he wants to remind you who he is. And even then, I thought Chelsea had opportunities. They just,
yeah,
they did everything. I think Thomas Tuchel did everything that he could possibly humanly do. It comes down to the guys on the field had some opportunities and it didn't go their way. Sometimes you bite the bear, sometimes the bear bites you. Like there's nothing else to
yeah.
say about that.
Yeah, no, it is tough. And I will tell you the one thing I did like about Tuchel, what he did here was he played Havertz and Timo together up top, because I think Timo's always he's a player that he needs a traditional, number 9 or a big figure who could do the whole to play, and then Timo could just cut through the center backs, go through the lines of defense, and use his speed. And you saw that work really well here. And I hope Chelsea. I hope to see more of that because I think that's Timo Werner's best game. Him by himself or him on a wing, he looks lost out there. He looks like he'll hide behind the center back and you'll miss him. And he'll get discouraged. He'll drift to the left. But Tuchel did almost everything right. It just took like we said, it just took this beautiful pass by Luka Modric and a couple misses and a VAR overturn on the Alonso goal, for Real to go through. But you know what? You give a team like Real Madrid, full of stars, an inch, a centimeter, and they'll take it. And Kareem Benzema just took it, with another header goal. By the way, he's just been on a tear with his head. It's just amazing. Let's appreciate while we have Kareem Benzema here, because like we mentioned this on the show a bunch. We sometimes forget about Kareem Benzema, as one of those top players. It's almost like you take him for granted, and here he is doing it again in Champions League, and then all of us act like we're surprised that he does it, but we shouldn't be.
I need to wonder though. Lukaku was injured and did not travel. You feel kind of like this was that game where whether or not he started, doggone it if they couldn't have used him late on. And my thought is this. Um, I think the return for Lukaku to Chelsea has been another bust.
Yep. It has been. I mean, I know he got paid. I know Inter got paid, but sometimes when when you leave a place and you think it's home, and you get homesick. But honestly, I think he was doing so well in Italy. It was perfect for him in Italy.
Well,
He was doing so well there, and then he had dreams. He had dreams and notions of coming back to the EPL, and
he didn't want to come back. Inter basically said, "We need this money, so
yeah,
we need this here money that Chelsea's offering right now. So we're going to need you to suck it up, drive on, and go there and accept that money because the 80, 90, 100 million pounds that they're offering us right now, we're going to need that money. So we know that you love playing for us. We know that you've said all the right things, but not for nothing. Yeah, we're gonna need you to leave.
yeah. Please, we need you to go so we can pay the janitor.
Yeah, and it's the same thing when Kaká went to Real Madrid back in the middle aughts, right? From AC Milan. He did not want to leave AC Milan after winning the Champions League. He was content to stay there. He'd won Player of the Year. He was dominant. He was having a good time. Everything was good for him. And AC kind of said, "Yeah, we're going to need this money right now. So what we're going to need you to do is suck it up, drive on, and take that flight over to Spain." Now, the issue for Kaká did not work out.
No, I mean he won. He did okay, but he was not the same player. It was,
No, and it didn't work for him as well as it did at
yeah.
AC Milan when he won Player of the Year for a reason. He was just dominant there. Maybe Chelsea cuts bait with Lukaku and allows him to leave or something like that. But I gotta say, this season has been. I'm not saying that it's been a failure for Chelsea. You go through everything that they're going through, win the Club World Cup, still make it to the Champions League quarterfinals, overturn a 3-1 deficit at the Bernabeu. I think that is key to understand. They did this away in Madrid. And I know that the Bernabeu wasn't as full as it could be. There are advertising banners around the lowest of the tiers, right around the field. So it wasn't as much of a cauldron as it could have been. But to go into the Bernabeu and overturn a 3-1, take it to extra time, and have a legit shot at winning, full credit to Thomas Tuchel. I hope that the next manager or the next owner of Chelsea is able to find a way to get along with him. Because, Rob, we've seen it for a little bit at Borussia Dortmund. We've seen it for a little bit at PSG. I think we're seeing the full realization of what Thomas Tuchel is capable of doing. But the thing that is different about this from the last couple of times is he hasn't had an opportunity to self-sabotage.
I think a part of it too is maybe it's about personal growth. Maybe he's learned a few things along the ways. And now with the whole situation with Chelsea, it's almost like they had to band together a little bit and it to get their act together and be tight as a group. And there is no time for self-sabotage. Between having to take a bus to a Champions League game because you can't pay for the private plane. It's maybe Thomas Tuchel is understanding that he has a good thing here. He got his Champions League trophy. He got a Champions League medal. And now maybe that cooled him down a little bit, and now he's concentrating just on the work at hand, on the drawing board, and it's produced some good results, and he nearly produced another one today.
I think uh I'm a argue opposite just ever so slightly. I think Tuchel works best when he's got a bunker mentality. And for pretty much the last 18 months, give or take, he's been able to have a bunker mentality. When he came in to Chelsea and he took over after Lampard was let go, it was, all right, I'm coming in. You need to do what I say because I'm going to rescue your season. It's us against the world.
Yep.
He was able to carry over a little bit of it this year. Now we're starting to see where he can pull those performances out. Now, I understand that there are some off the field things that may have superseded that, but right now, I think he's in his glory. Everybody's against us. We have no owner. We don't know what next year is going to look like. Rally around me. I got you. My question is when and I think he's going to be able to do that through a significant portion of next season with new ownership. He may even get through the full season next season. I hope it's personal growth. I hope you're right. But there's nothing about his track record over his managerial career that suggests to me that when it comes to him versus the board, that Tuchel's going to sit down and say, all right, yeah, whatever you say. I think he's just too much of a bunker foxhole guy. And he's going to make whatever slight he perceives from ownership into an us versus them thing because that's where he works best.
So it's going to be interesting because when there's a new board, when new owners, they're going to come in, and Tuchel's going to be like, "You better listen to me because I actually won shit here, right? I've done stuff here, so pay attention. I got something to say." And I definitely hope that for Chelsea's sake, I definitely hope Marina stays because I think she'd be one of those people that can kind of navigate between the two worlds, and kind of like temper. And I think she's done right by the club and also by Tuchel, and brought in the player. I mean, except for Lukaku, like we talked about, right? So I could definitely see that, but I feel like Tuchel's mellowed out a little bit ever since he's won something, and he's won like the biggest prize. We will see. I think once we get the new ownership, for all we know, he's gonna get too comfortable. He's like, I need to do something to rip it apart, and he'll rip it apart.
I've seen this script. I know how it goes.
Yeah.
There was a very famous NFL coach who once told a manager, an owner, go to hell up to your box. This is my effing team. He did not last long.
This is true. Those managers who are very confrontational do not last long because at the end of the day, somebody else signs the checks and it's not the manager.
Yeah, and so when you tell the owner it's not your team, it's mine, you sign the checks and get out of my way. Mm-hmm. It's not going to go over real well. Tuchel is that kind of guy. And I think he thrives in a situation where he can create this us versus the world mentality. And he's going to get it for a little bit, but eventually it's going to come down. And I really, truly believe he's going to go to ownership and do something what you said. I won stuff. Get out of my way. Leave me alone. And the owner's going to be like, I just paid $3 billion for this team. What you're not going to do is sit here and tell me it's not mine, right? What you're not going to do is tell me to sit down and shut up. What you're not going to do is tell me to get the hell out of your way. And yeah, if I decide that it's my team and I need to remind you of that because I feel too big, like you're getting too big for your britches, guess who's going to win this battle? Yeah, and I'm gonna give you a guess. It's not going to be Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah, it would be very Tuchel-esque if Thomas Tuchel wins the FA Cup next season or something, comes in second in the Premier League, and gets sacked because he told the new owners, like, screw you, I'm a winner, get out of my way.
No, and I think that's what it's going to be. I have said it forever on in this conversation and on the mothership. I think Thomas Tuchel's biggest enemy is Thomas Tuchel. Like, he is a different version of Jose Mourinho. He is going to come in. He is going to win you stuff. I don't think he's going to burn down the earth. He's not going to salt the earth behind him in the same way that a Jose Mourinho does. But he's got a 2-year shelf life before he finds this perceived slight and just acts on it. And it's going to be so until he proves me differently. And I hope he does. I mean, I hope he sticks and stays at Chelsea because, whoever are the next ownership group comes in. Look, you got a doggone good manager. You got a really good team with some great pieces, and you've got a manager who gets some great things out of that team. Yep. Y'all can compete. Y'all don't need to move much. It'll just be interesting to see if he can keep from self-sabotage.
Yeah. It'll be a fun ride regardless of the fact.
All right, brother. I love you to death. We've almost been doing this for an hour already.
Yeah. And the great thing is, tomorrow we get 2 other Champions League matches, and the one to look forward to: City, Atletico. Diego Simeone, Cholo, is going to come in and basically tear shit up and going to drive Pep loony. Pep's lucky he's bald because what Diego's going to do is going to make Pep pull his fictional hair. Exactly what's going to happen.
I was going to say the same thing. I kind of feel like Pep lavished all this praise over Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp this, Jurgen Klopp has challenged me to become better. He's my greatest rival. Mm-hmm. And I feel strangely like Diego Simeone is sitting there someplace like, the hell am I, chopping liver?
He's in the lab right now with all these chemical bottles, just mixing shit up, and he's laughing maniacally.
He's sitting there like, all right, did you forget who I am?
Yeah.
Do you remember? I competed against you. I won stuff too. Like, do you remember who I am? Because if you forgot, I'm fitting to show you tomorrow.
Yep.
And you come. I don't know whether or not Atleti is actually going to win this tie. What I do know is that Diego Simeone is going to come out and he's at least going to try, and he's going to have his Atleti geared up to remind Pep, like, did you forget who we are? Because there are a few. There's only a few. But there are a few guys left on that team that remember when Pep was in the Bundesliga or was in La Liga. There's a few that remember when he was with Bayern, and they played against him. And they're going to want to remember, like, hey, all this time that you lavished all this praise on Liverpool, don't forget, we've been to 2 Champions League finals. Yep. We've won a couple of La Ligas. We've been at or near the top of La Liga and Europe for the better part of the last decade. Remember the name because we're still here.
You know, it's going to be interesting to see what formation Simeone comes out with. Is he going to go with the 5-4-1? Is he going to go with the 4-5-1? You know, but we all know 9 people are going to be behind the center circle, and it's going to be a bruising battle. You know, I get the Bengay out, get the Biofreeze out, get all these fun little time wasting tactics, because it's going to be bloody. It's going to be a beauty contest versus playing in the mud. Exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be beautiful to watch as the neutral, and I hope y'all enjoy.
No, I don't think it's going. I actually don't think it's going to be a fun game to watch as a neutral.
No. Well, I'm in like not the actual game itself, but just like the little the back and forth between what Simeone's folks are going to do along with Pep's. Like, you know, Pep's going to want to play this beautiful game, and Simeone is going to, you know, put the big giant hand and tell him, nope, we're not playing. We're not going to play like that. Enough of this passing up the back. We're going to make you pay for it. And then Pep's going to go nuts. You're going to see De Bruyne and Laporte just get, you know, they're going to get defeated. They're going to get down. They're like, oh, we want to play this beautiful way of playing. And Simeone wants no part of it. And he's going to be laughing all the way, potentially to the semifinals.
It is the quintessential, and we said it last night on the show. If you haven't watched the full Too Many Guys soccer show, we talked about one of the knocks on Pep Guardiola being that there is no plan B. And if there is a team that can disrupt plan A for him, for Pep, it's Atleti. They're going to play physical. They're going to draw these niggling fouls. They're going to delay. They're going to do every obnoxious negative thing that they can possibly do to disrupt Man City's momentum, to break up the game, to just harangue them at every point that they possibly can. And we're going to see if Pep can come with some sort of thing to disrupt what they're going to do. Because all it takes is João Felix, Suarez sort of chance to go in. That game is level, and please believe Diego Simeone is perfectly willing to play out 120 minutes of physical knockdown, elbows in the back type football and go into penalties, because he knows that they'll be so bumped and bruised that that's how he has the best chance of it. I don't think that tie is in any way, shape, or form over. It becomes the onus on Manchester City to play around and through Atleti, because, and if for nothing else, think about how much Diego Simeone would gloat if he could knock out both Manchester teams in the same Champions League campaign.
Oh my goodness, he's going to love it. And you know, Pep has to be really careful here because he has the FA Cup semifinals this weekend. He's going to be really, really careful with his lineup choices and who he brings in, because that is going to be a big competition, a big game against Liverpool, mind you. So, this game might stretch out the whole 120 minutes, into penalties, and there's going to be a lot of tired legs. They're going to be passing the ball around. A lot of Pep's game is about a lot of movement, occupying space. So do you want to play Kevin De Bruyne the full 120? Do you want to play Foden? Foden can, Mahrez, Sterling, after they played that beautiful masterpiece last weekend. And then whatever lineup choices they come up with, Simeone is going to batter and bruise them. And Pep has to take that into account because he's going to need those same players come next weekend.
Well, the one thing I know is that we're going to have something to talk about tomorrow. So My man, this was supposed to be a short. I don't know how we went an hour on a short segment.
We love talking about this thing. That's why we love it.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll catch up with you tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit about what we see from Liverpool, Benfica, and uh, Man City and Athletic. But
All right.
great talking to you. For Byron Rob, I'm Mike. This has been a too many soccer guys annex type of show. Have a good week.
Yep.